Hi everyone. Today I'm heading over to Sovereign Foods at Maruka, which is on the south side of Brisbane. I live on the north side of Brisbane, so it's a bit of a hike across town, but it's a really worthwhile journey for me. Sovereign Foods is the place where I get just about all of my pantry staples, especially all of my whole wheat, rye, oats, spelt, all of those grains that I use for baking, plus other things, dishwashing powder and other sort of pantry staples. I've been a customer of theirs for quite a long time, and having a source of good quality, sustainably grown, all organic whole grains, whole wheat grains in particular, for bread making is a real game changer, and it's what has allowed me to make all of my breads, all of my whole grain sourdough breads with freshly milled flour. When I got my Mock Mill 200, I looked around to see where I could get grain because there's no point having a mill if you don't have a source of grain. And Australia is a much smaller market than in the US, and whole grains availability has really come a long way in the last few years. I got my mock mill in 2018. It's now 2025, and what is available now is much more well developed than it was back then. And we've been throwing our support behind these small growers, focusing on growing these grains, and it's so exciting. And Sovereign Foods are one of a few businesses that I know of in Australia who are really at the forefront of this movement and really supporting sustainable agriculture in Australia. So I want to celebrate them a bit today, just by showing what I get there. I probably order from them every few months or so when I need to top up, and I'll show you what I get when I come home and a little bit of footage there if they let me. Don't mind me being red-faced and sweaty. It's really hot. It's January here in Brisbane, Australia. It's a hot day. And I haven't got the aircon going in my car yet, but I will get that on now and head over there and hopefully cool down on the way. All right, I'll see you soon. So this is Lucy Street in Maruka, where the Sovereign Foods warehouse is. That's it there. I wasn't asked to do this video, and it's not all about Sovereign Foods. It's really about what I do with the produce as well. But I really admire and want to support this business. What they're doing is incredible, supporting small growers, and providing people like me with amazing whole grains for home milling for flour, but also for general consumption. All the amazing things that you're able to get there. Sovereign Foods is not a shop. You can't just rock up there and ask to buy things. They are a warehouse and they sell most of their stuff online. So it is an online shop, really. But if you live in Brisbane or southeast Queensland, if you make your order online, you can pick it up there to save yourself the shipping. So I tend to save up, for when I need to do a big order, and then I order everything and then I go there and pick it up. It's a half an hour drive for me across town, which isn't too far. And I'd happily go there more frequently, but it's sort of convenient to just wait till you need to do a big order and then go and get it all at once. Their customer service is excellent. They're wonderful people. They're super friendly, and generally they would do this part for you if you arrive there. But they only had one staff member there that afternoon, and I didn't want to disturb them, so I volunteered to bring my own stuff out to the car and pack it in there myself. But generally, they would do that for you. They're really helpful. So this is just a little look into their warehouse. You can't see, but there's a really fantastic big cold room out the back, and there's an office upstairs, and packing room, and boxing room, and all of the equipment and everything that they need in there to be able to ship all this amazing produce around the country. So I've got my goodies and I head home then. But what I realized not long after I got home was that I left my tripod in the car park. So I ended up going to their stall at the Northeast Street Farmers Markets, the Northeast Street Organic Market on the Sunday. They do have a shop there. This is their only public facing sort of shop opportunity where you can go and buy their produce, but you can't buy their bulk bags from there unless you pre-order. So this is another option. You can order online and they will bring your order to the shop, or if you want to buy things in smaller amounts just to try things out, you can do that as well. This is just a little wander around the market. It's a really great place if you want to check it out on a Sunday morning. There's all sorts of stuff there, from fresh produce to other food products and coffee and food and a cafe and a nursery, and just general good wholesome times there on a Sunday morning. I really enjoy going there sometimes to pick up my order from Sovereign Foods. It's a little bit closer for me than the warehouse, but I tend to go to the warehouse during the week on a weekday. Anyway, this is back on the day that I went to the warehouse. This is me just getting home. It was pretty hot. And on that day, I ran out of time to repack my freezer and everything. So I just brought all of this out of the car and just put it in my office in the house. It was too hot and I was too tired by the time I got home. I had other things I had to do. So I ended up sorting it all out on another day. So here we are, a couple of days later. I got everything out to show you all what I got. And this is all the stuff I got on this trip, but on other days I get other things. So I got a 10 kilo bag of Yokora red wheat from Burrum Biodynamics. This is Yokora. You've probably, if you're familiar with some of my social media posts, you might have seen me make bread with this wheat. This, in my opinion, for what I can access here in Queensland anyway, this is the best bread wheat I know of in Australia. It's actually grown in Victoria, but I can access it easily through Sovereign Foods. So I absolutely love to get that Yokora red wheat. It's a bit of a specialty though, and I don't know of its availability right now, but I was lucky to be able to get 10 kilos that day. I also got red lentils. We eat a lot of lentils and pulses here. We're pretty much plant-based mostly. About 95% eat a plant-based vegan kind of a diet. So lentils are a real staple for us. We use them to make bolognese, all sorts of weird, wonderful, delicious things. These are the rolled oats that I get also from Burrum Farm in Victoria. I'll show a little bit more on the oats later. I also got 5 kilos of brown linseed. I forget which farm grows these, but all of the current info on who grows what is on the listings on the Sovereign Foods website. This is the ground linseed. Basically what I do with it is I grind it up in my blender and I put it in jars like this and I keep it in the fridge. That way it doesn't go rancid. It stays nice and fresh. It's full of omega-3 fatty acids, linseed or flaxseed as it's known in some other countries. And I just store that jar in my fridge and I add it to my bread recipes, to cakes, to my oats, porridge, all sorts of things. It's a really fantastic thing to have on hand. I also got 5 kilos of chickpeas, and I forget where these ones were grown as well, but I put them in all sorts of dishes and I also pressure can them in jars like this so that they're shelf stable. I've kind of got my own jarred chickpeas, and this is fantastic for making up quick batches of hummus or for adding to other recipes. I also got 5 kilos of rye grain, which is absolutely divine. This comes from Burrum Biodynamics farm as well in Victoria. If you're familiar with my videos, you might have seen some of my rye recipes, and also I did a video where I made bread using this rye grain and also spelt, and I can't remember what other grain, from Burrum Farm using Farmer Steve's recipe. Hi Steve, if you're watching this. They are an amazing family farm down there and they just grow some beautiful produce. We're so lucky to have it. This is my dishwasher powder that I also get from Sovereign Foods. I should say too, I also buy recycled Queensland made toilet paper from Sovereign Foods as well in a big box, which is good. So this is the Kin Naturals dishwashing powder. Kin are a family business in the Sunshine Coast, and I just use their bulk bag to refill an old container that I probably bought from Aldi or somewhere years ago, and it's a really good product. So you can get a few other things from Sovereign Foods aside from food. These are some examples of pantry staple whole food produce items that I didn't get this time from Sovereign Foods, but that I do get at other times. You can see condensation on all of these because I store them in a fridge. I think it's the best way to keep things in a humid subtropical environment. I really can't stand food wastage, so I just keep everything in a fridge. I'm lucky to have a spare fridge and a little freezer to store everything. So that was popcorn, and that is yellow split peas. I really, really love split pea soup. It is one of my favourite foods on the whole planet. Those split peas came from Burrum as well, I think. These are mung beans. I tend to buy mung beans whole because I can split them with my mock meal for dal, or I just cook them whole for dal as well. If you use a pressure cooker, they cook down really, really soft. But if you buy them whole, you can also use them for sprouting, which is a really nice thing. These are chia seeds from Australian Superfoods in Tolga in North Queensland. Beautiful Aussie grown chia seed. I put those in my breakfast cereal, overnight oats, chia puddings. I also put them in my bread recipes. And this is the gorgeous Khorasan or kamut grain from BioOz in Parkes in New South Wales. This is a relatively new grain that became available to Sovereign Foods last year, and they've got plentiful supply of it. So if you're into ancient grains for bread making, get your hands on some of this BioWaz Khorasan grain. It is absolutely beautiful. It mills up wonderfully, and I've been making some gorgeous bread with that. So you can see I've got a pretty amazing variety of beautiful whole foods to make my bread with, and other things too. Still going. This is my little grain cupboard under my bench where my mock meal is. I've got brown rice there. I also buy the brown rice from Sovereign Foods. This is purple straw wheat, which is a lovely soft white cake wheat, also from Burrum Biodynamics. All of these have variable availability, so you just have to have a look on the website and see what's available and use what they've got is the best policy. That's the Scout wheat, which is a really good all-purpose modern hard white wheat from Burrum as well. That's some sorghum, and that's the lovely spelt from Burrum as well. These are all staples, but I don't always have all of these. I've got quite a variety because I pretty much make my living out of, teaching people how to bake whole grain sourdough bread with various grains and things. So I tend to have a big variety, but I never waste anything. I only keep those small containers amounts in my kitchen, and then everything else gets stored in my spare fridge and my freezer. This is my little spare fridge out the back. I keep some fresh produce in there. I keep my popcorn in there, my onions, my anything basically that I can fit in there that I think could attract weevils or could go off in the room temperature, especially in summer here. I keep in that back fridge. These are some beans that I can't, things that aren't available at Sovereign Foods that I do like to use sometimes. I buy a lot of them from Indian and Fijian groceries here in North Brisbane. Oops, somebody's found the Forex gold. That was a bit embarrassing. I should have edited that out. um, I've got some chickpea flour there. Sovereign Foods usually does have chickpea flour, but I forgot to order it and I needed it for a recipe, so I bought that from the supermarket. But you can see I get various things from various places, but I try as much as I can to support Sovereign Foods and these small growers for, especially for the bulk staples that we use every day. This is just an example of how I kind of manage these big bags of things. So these are the rolled oats. We were completely out of rolled oats from Burrum Farm, so I decanted some of those into my containers straight away, and then that big bag goes into my little freezer. And then I just keep these small containers in the kitchen for our daily use, and then I fill them up with that stainless steel scoopy cup as I need them. Now, this is the final stage of the process, which is on this day, it was actually very challenging. I've got all sorts of stuff in my little chest freezer. When you live in the tropics or the subtropics, keeping everything fresh and cool really is the way to go. It's the only way that I can pretty much be zero waste. I never have any issues with weevils. Everything's always kept really well. The problem is that sometimes I buy more than I actually need and I have trouble fitting it all in my freezer. So I have this, once every few months I have to do this little Tetris game with myself and try and pack everything away. And it's always a bit of a trick, like judging how much to buy, because I want to take advantage of the fact that I'm driving half an hour across town to get this stuff, but also I don't want to buy more than I can actually store. I think if you don't have a freezer, then doing it, buying less is actually better, because you don't want to buy great big bags. If you live in a hot, humid climate like I do, you don't want to buy great big bags and then have them go off or have weevils attack your grain. And I do have a video about freezer storage and why that's important, which I'll link below. I finally got it all to fit. I was so proud of myself. If you can't store a lot of stuff, don't buy a lot of stuff. Just buy what you will use within a month or two if you're in this climate. These are just some leftover little ones that I couldn't fit in the freezer. Anyway, I can say more about that in other videos if you want me to. Thanks for watching. I hope this was interesting and helpful. If you want any info about Sovereign Foods, let me know, or check out their website. If there's anything else I can think of, I'll put it in the description box below. And if you've got any feedback about this video, I'd love to know. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you again next time. Bye.